dedicated YouTube channel for coverage of the LITEtask World Billiards Championship. And this is a championship with a long history. It started in 1870 when William Cook beat John Roberts Sr. for the title at London Guildhall in front of an audience which included the Prince of Wales. The current Prince of Wales isn't here, of course, today, but here at the Northern Snooker Centre, Leeds, we're anticipating a fine day's billiards, starting with the quarter-finals, which will commence in a minute or so, and moving on to the semi-finals, which are due to start at 5 o'clock. We'll be concentrating on the quarter-final between David Causier, just addressing the white ball there, and Robert Hall, who'll be playing with yellow. The game starts with a string. Closest to the ball cushion has choice, and it's Hall to break. The standard break-off shot, leaving the cue ball onto the side cushion and doubling the red into baulk, except that he hasn't hit the red hard enough, so that's immediately left Causier a good scoring opportunity with a short jenny to left middle. Causier was runner-up to Mike Russell in this championship last year and won it the year before. He comes from Middlesbrough and works as a pub manager. Well, the screwing off fails. I thought the cue ball would drop for the in-off, but it would have done on tables with a pocket drop which had slightly more slope on it. But these are strict championship pockets. From Hall's double baulk, Causier plays the miss with his own cue ball, so Hall will be looking for a way of getting Causier's ball into play, a task made much more difficult by the unintentional in-off there in potting the red. Nice three-cushion cannon. Could pot the yellow and leave another double baulk.
Rob Hall, 8.
Preferred to try the cannon, which was the correct shot, I believe, but went round the back of the red. This is a match of 1,000 up, with a short interval when the leading player reaches 500.
5. 7.
Good shot. No accident that the red has finished so near the pocket. Had to hit the cue ball
9.
relatively hard to get the red back, but it ended up with Hall's cue ball making Causier unable to hit the red, so he resorts to a double
12.
balk. Must strike out of balk initially with the right hand
Causier's
side,
12.
so it comes back across
Miss
the balk
2.
line.
Rob Hall. Miss 2. Dave Causier.
When there is no ball out of balk, the incoming player doesn't have to try to hit one of the other two balls.
Three. Dave Causier. 3.
Just a safety. Don't think Hall can do much here. Cue ball very close to the cushion, so couldn't dig underneath it to attempt a screw cannon.
Foul.
Oh,
Jack is touching it.
oh. A waistcoat foul.
2. Rob Hall.
And Hall exercises his option of having the ball spotted. Could have played from the position left, but there wasn't much on, so it was understandable that he had the ball spotted, and he'll be very disappointed to have missed that standard long enough from the middle spot. Players of his quality wouldn't normally miss that.
Three. Five.
Setting up the drop cannon. The idea being to drop the 3 balls at the top of the table, inside of the red.
7. 9.
Didn't catch that quite right. Intended a full ball contact on the red to send it towards the pocket.
Dave Causier. 9.
Played the pot red and also played the cannon, but wasn't successful either way. Some rather scrappy exchanges so far. Neither player has settled into his rhythm.
Four. 7. 10.
The line from middle pocket to the red spot is a natural half ball shot. The cue will finish slightly short, but by using
15.
right hand check side, The shot was still pretty easy. Setting up another drop cannon, this time doubling the red over the left corner. Well, that's perfectly all right as long as you keep the two balls in front. Then that's perfectly okay.
19.
Rob Hall has been pretty well unbeatable in amateur competition. He's won the English Amateur Championship 5 times.
21.
There's no restriction though on him accepting prize money in events like this.
Rob Hall, 21.
Again though, that illustrates that pots along the rail are far from easy on these championship pockets.
3. Six. 8. 11. 13. 15. 17. 19. 22.
'More often than not, the World Billiards Championship has been
25.
contested over a set number of 2-hour or 2.5-hour sessions.
27.
But this year they're playing to a points target. Causier leaving another of the game's standard shots. The half balling off from the back of the red.
33. 35. 37. 39. 42. 43. 44.
Setting up the drop cannon. Will be playing to get on the inside of the red.
46.
So this is developing into the first break of any
49.
real substance.
51. 54. 56. 59. 62. 64. 67.
'Left that cannon rather wider than he intended,
69.
which meant that he had to play with a little bit of pace to make the cannon and hold position. What he would have preferred to have done
72.
was get the object white behind the red spot.
75. 77. 80. Ball line warning.
The referee, Colin Whitelaw, has uttered the words balk line warning. That means that the player
83.
has to take the cue ball into balk in the last 20 points between 80 and 100 in any break.
85.
'Meanwhile, he gets the object
87.
white behind the spot. In fact, he has a look to see whether he's miscalculated slightly and left it covering the spot. And that's how he crossed the balk line.
90. Ball line crossed. 92.
Kiss cannon.
95. 98. 100.
Would have preferred a slightly different cannon on the red. But he keeps going with the screwing off. Those are easy to misjudge.
103. 105. Almost.
Causier is a notably quick player, a very fine shot maker, very attractive to watch when he gets going. Would rather have taken the cue ball higher there.
108. 110. 112.
Run through and off.
114.
'Stunning off in the middle.
117. 119.
Didn't push the red far enough and got too thin a contact on the object white.
121.
There's an example of Causier's shot making there. He makes the cushion cannon across the full width of the table. Hasn't turned out all that great, mind you.
Dave Causier, 121.
A break of 121, brought to an end by cue ball shaving past
Dave Causier, 121.
the break of for his intended cannon. And attempted in off, but the angle was a bit wide, even at pace.
Three. Five. 8. 10.
Now this time Causier has got the object white in position A,
13.
directly behind the red spot.
15.
So with a series of cannons and pot reds, there should be another substantial break.
18. 20. 23. 25. 28.
Causier asks Colin Whitelaw to clean his cue ball.
Thirty.
Again leaving cannon off the
33.
cushion.
35.
A little bit careless that, to leave himself a cover. Keeps going with the stunning off and
37.
manages to stop the object wide short of the baulk line.
Forty.
Another screwing off.
42.
Another touch shot, and as he builds up his break, it's obvious that Causier has now got his touch. He's in stroke and in touch.
44.
So it's possible that he could get clean away from Hall if he makes a big break
46.
at this visit. In the East of England Open
48.
a couple of months ago, Causier made a break of 807. There's £1 a point for the highest
50.
break prize here.
Dave
Yeah.
Causier, 50.
Yes, didn't play the drop cannon all that well and left the pot, which he would have made, I think, more times than not. He left it missable anyway. So it's time for Hall to respond. It's a good leave.
3. Six. Eight. Ten. 13.
Yes, that was well played.
15.
Had to swerve the cue ball into the red after playing thin off the yellow.
18. 20. 22. 25.
Now has to use a little bit of right hand side here if he's going to play the line off from the yellow. That would make it missable. Preferred the cushion cannon.
27. 29.
Now he's got the object yellow behind the spot. Could have done with getting the cue ball a little
32.
nearer for his next shot, but otherwise it's a very good position.
34. 35. 36. 39. 42. 44. 46. 49. 52. 54.
Into prime position.
56.
I didn't expect the object yellow to go so far above the red spot that time. Thought that was a bit heavy-handed.
59.
But one of the attractions of billiards is its variety. There are just so many shots you can play.
61. 63. 66. 68. 70. 72. 74. 77. 79. 82. Ball playing warning at 80. 84. 86.
'Not in perfect position.
88.
But he could cross the baulk line here if he chooses.
91. Ball playing crossed. Rob Hall, 91.
Well, Hall felt that he needed a touch of left-hand side so that the cue ball didn't strike the side cushion, but somewhat overdid it.
2.
So that's why that break ended. Forcing cannon from Causier, leaving no position whatsoever.
4.
Well, I was wrong about that. The camera angle was slightly deceiving. It was, even from that distance, it was a pretty straightforward half balling off.
Six. Give Causier 6.
But the cannon fails. Stunning across for the in-off yellow.
Five.
Had to get the cue ball to swing wide there, so wasn't able to control his position.
Rob Hall 5.
And the cannon fails.
Thank you. 2. Four. Six. Nine. 12. 15.
Object white behind the spot.
$17.
Pot red to middle. And perfect top of the table position.
20. 22.
Very good opportunity for Causier to assert himself again.
25. 28.
Didn't have the angle there to get the cannon off the top cushion,
30.
so took an extra pot. It's these well-judged cannons via the top
33.
cushion which help to keep the
35.
object white tight behind the spot, or fairly tight anyway.
38. 40. 43. 46.
'After 2 consecutive pot reds from the spot, the red
49.
is replaced on the middle spot. That's to prevent an undue amount of scoring from potting the red.
51. 54. 56. 58. 60. 62.
Not the best contact on the red.
65.
I think it would have been all right anyway, because if the red hadn't caught the middle pocket jaw, it would have come well out of baulk.
67. 70. 72. 75. 77. 79. 82, Bulkling warning at 80. 84.
'Maybe Causier's cue is getting a bit sticky.
87, Bulkling crossed. 89. 92.
Didn't quite have
95.
the ideal angle for the cannon, so took the extra pot.
97. 100. 102. 105. 108. 110.
Was very careful to get on the far edge of the object white then to avoid a cover.
$113. $116. $118. $121. Mm-hmm. $124. $127.
Again taking the 2 pots from the spot. And again leaving the half
130.
ball crossing off.
$133. $136.
Yes, left himself wider than the natural half ball
139.
angle, which is why he had to swing that in off in with a little bit of extra pace.
$141.
Intended to leave the red over the right corner from that forcing cannon, but has failed to do so. Could be end of break.
$143.
But he gets the cannon. I don't know whether he played it off quite so many cushions as that, but whether he did or not, could be end of break.
$146.
This break has taken Causier more than 200 in front.
$149.
That was a very good shot. It's too narrow to get the thin in off. And the 3/4 run through was a bit hazardous because he could have got the double kiss. But he's not only kept the break going, but left ideal position.
153.
Still okay, despite getting the wrong side of the red.
155. 157. 160. 163. 166. 168. 171. 173.
'Very fast, very fluent.
176.
This is an excellent exhibition of all-round billiards.
178.
'As I said earlier, Causier works as a pub manager. The only time he can get to practice is between 8 and 10 in the morning, when he goes into the social club of the local steelworks.
181. Ball
Yeah.
playing warning.
You have to be keen to do that.
$183.
So next to no time, it seems.
$185.
He's got to make another balk line crossing.
$188. 191.
I don't know whether he intended to send the red into the object white there.
193.
He's only got a few shots to make the balk line crossing.
$195.
He can do it here though.
Foul 2.
But the unintentional six shot. The unintentional six shot is a foul because he's gone beyond 200 without crossing the balk line between 180 and 200. So he leaves the table with his break on 195. And because it was a foul, Robert Hall had the ball spotted.
2.
And this time he hasn't missed the standard in off from the middle spot.
4. Seven. Nine. $11.
All 250 odd
50.
behind, so he's got to respond. At least playing to a points target.
15.
There's no problem with time.
17.
Although I will say that there's nothing quite as exciting as a timed match when there's a close finish. The corollary of that,
20.
though, is that it can be pretty dull if somebody has an impregnable lead
23.
with half an hour or even longer to go. So you get a lot of dead time.
25. 28. 30. 33.
Hall bounced the cue ball a little further off the side cushion than he intended there. I think he'll still score, but it's a question of keeping prime position.
35.
And it's not just prime position for the next shot, but for a series of shots.
$37. 39.
'All still in play, but it was only a few shots ago he had perfect top of the table position. Once you get there, you need to exploit it more heavily than he did on that occasion.
42. 44. 46. 49. 52. 54. 56. 58. 60.
'Maybe the shot here is cushion first.
62.
Managed to calculate the kiss cannon very nicely though. Still not in good position.
64.
Didn't get the desired cannon on the object white, and therefore had little alternative but to pot the white
66.
and leave a double baulk.
Rob Hall, 66.
So Causier has to shoot out a baulk and may even score here because Hall has left the red quite near the pocket. Well, as it happens, not. So a chance, another chance for Hall to reduce his arrears. He comes to the table trailing by 205.
Two.
Oh dear.
Five.
Didn't intend the red to cannon the yellow. He's left himself a double baulk.
Rob Hall, 5.
Good attempt at a multi-cushion cannon. But good attempts don't count. I think that was an attempted cannon from Causier.
Two.
Not much on here. If he fancies his potting, he could try the long straight red. That would leave him on a half ball angle for an in-off next shot. Instead attempted a 3 or 4 cushion cannon. Got the consolation prize when in off in the middle.
Correction 5. Eight. $11.
Hall will want to get the object yellow into play as soon as he can. The player is permitted only 15 consecutive pots and or in offs
15.
in any one break.
$17.
When he pots the red again, he gets it on the middle spot.
$20.
Too wide for the cannon. But just looking to see where he needs to leave his cue ball for the in-off. I think that's a bit short.
23.
Sometimes the camera angle can be deceiving. No, he could get it. Playing with pace to widen the angle. Good shot that, and well worked out.
$27. 30. 33.
Perfect top of the table position, and this time he must exploit it.
35. 38. 40.
'But it's not that long before again he has to
43.
play from hand.
45.
That was a good shot though. Trapping the object yellow. So again he has top of the table position.
48. 51. 53.
Didn't get the cue ball round far enough though in potting the red. Had to play the cannon and has ended with a line up. He'll have to use the side cushion.
55. 58. 61. 61.
Not a difficult pot though. Can't afford to miss those. I didn't expect Causier to miss that one, but there was quite a bit of head movement on the shot, which didn't help him.
Two.
Forcing cannon. Position was pretty much a matter of chance. You had to play the forcer though to score at all.
5. 7. 9. 11. 13. 16. 18. 21. 23. 26. 28. 31.
Now, can he stay in top of the table
33.
position for a significant amount of time?
36. 39. 41.
'So Hall's arrears
44.
come down to less than 100.
47. 49. 52. 55.
Again, the cannon was too wide, so he took the extra pot.
57. 60. 62. 65.
Oh,
Hall, 65.
dear, oh dear. Concentrating on being on the outside, the far edge of the second object
2.
ball, but overdid it. Too much left-hand side. That was a great chance to get right back into contention.
5.
As it is, he cut Causier's lead to around 70.
8.
Couldn't play the cannon onto the other side of the
10.
second ball because of the fear of
13.
leaving himself covered for his next shot.
Give Causier 13.
Still no significant response from Causier there, to Hall's relief. Played the forcing in off, trying to swing the cue ball wide. Yes, pot wide double balk was the strategy there, but he couldn't get ideal position on the red. So he settles
Dave Causier, 2.
for leaving a single balk. Couldn't get both balls in. And the red, which is out of balk, is not an easy scoring option. The attempted cushion cannon fails, but I don't think he's left much. Doesn't look as if he can get through to the red. Well, that was a good shot.
2.
So having made that fine run through cannon
5.
with his first shot, Causier sets about extending his lead again.
Eight. Ten. 12, 14.
Unintentional pot wide. And again a single balk.
Dave Causier, 14. Two. Five. Seven. 9.
Well, another unintentional pot wide. Hall could have played an in off red and manoeuvred the red for a few shots before playing the cannon,
12.
which always had the potential to go wrong, but as it is, he's just scored a few and he's about to leave a double balk.
Rob Hall, 12, miss 2, Dave Causier.
All fouls count 2 to your
Miss
opponent.
2, Rob Hall. Three.
Nothing very inviting here. And that screwing
Rob
off the
hole, 3.
corner was tricky.
Two. 5.
Had to play with considerable pace there to make the cannon at all.
Check it out.
And it's turned out pretty well. There's just a question here whether the red is in baulk or not. No, it's clearly
7.
out of baulk, so Causier could play directly at it.
Nine. Thank you. Eleven. Thank you. 13.
Well, if he made the cannon, the in-off was also on, so he's only got one ball out of baulk. Long Jenny coming up. Just cram the left-hand side on, and he should manage to spin the cue ball into corner pocket.
$15. $17. 19.
He's only got to hit the red to pot it. So now he's away.
22.
Turned out though that the
24.
in-off was too thin to get the object white out of baulk. So rather than attempt
Dave Causier, 24.
a very difficult cannon, Causier settled for safety. There have been flashes of quality in this quarter-final, but position has been lost far too readily for players of this quality.
Two.
Welcome fluke for Hall.
Four.
Another welcome fluke for Hall.
Rob Hall, 4.
Maybe a kiss cannon on here. Instead, fluke for Causier.
3. 5.
There'll be an interval when the leading player reaches 500, and it looks as if Causier could do it at this visit.
9. 12. 14. 17. 20. 22. 25.
'It's important for Causier that he doesn't
28.
break down now. It'd be nice for him to come back after the interval in good position.
30. 33. 35. 38. 40. You can finish your break.
Oh. The referee has said that Causier can finish his break.
43. 45.
It's more usual to stop when the agreed interval target is reached.
48.
And the interval will be of 30 minutes duration.
51. 53.
Now Causier has the object white in postman's knock position. That's the term
56.
used when in this top of the table sequence he just traps it with each cannon that he plays.
59.
Like
61. 64. 66. 69. 72. 74. 77. 79. 82. Buckling warning at 80. 85. 87.
No more postman's knock.
89. 92. Balkline crossed.
There goes the balk line crossing. And this contribution has enabled Causier
94.
to regain an advantage of 200 points. With more to come if he gets this long Jenny.
$96.
Nicely played to leave a drop cannon.
$98. $101. $104. $106.
The so-called 9-shot.
109.
Just dribble the red in, leave the crossing off, which most
112.
players can get with their eyes shut, and leave either a pot or an in off to a middle pocket.
$115. $117. $119. $122. $124. $127. $129.
This is shaping up as potentially
132.
the most significant break of the match.
134. $137.
Already Causier
140.
is going to be 250 points clear
142.
as a result of this. Still in perfect
145.
position.
147. $150.
There is a £1 a point highest break prize,
152.
which currently stands to Siddharth Parekh of India, who is now out of the tournament, but in an earlier round he had a run of
155.
335.
157. $160. 162. 165. 167.
Yeah, left the cannon a bit wide there. Had to use a bit of extra pace, but still in excellent position.
170. 172.
Not as much on the outside of the red as he wanted to be.
175.
Crossed the balk line, but a little early. He's got to do it again.
177.
Between 80 and 100.
180. Balk line warning. 182. 185.
The 200 balk line rule was introduced to stop players
187.
playing too much at the top of the table. Tried to encourage more of an all-round game. But I've got to say that the top players don't have much trouble with the balk line crossing.
190.
They take it very much in their stride, but Causier's gone wrong there.
Dave Causier, 190.
But he did lose position,
gentlemen.
and his break ends
Beware of the other matches,
at 190, as does
please.
the first half of this session. And
It'll be 15-minute break, not 30, 15.
it ends with Causier leading 651 to 351, almost 300, and we've been informed that the break will be only 15 minutes, not 30 as originally stated. But we'll be back with the second half of the session. Play about to resume then in this quarter-final of the LITEtask World Billiards Championship between David Causier and Robert Hall. And before we start, I've just got time, I think, to tell you progress as of about 5 minutes ago in the other quarter-finals, which have been played concurrently.
So, Mike Phillip.
Saurav Kothari leads his fellow Indian Dvaj Harrier 397 to 299. Rupesh Shah of India leads Robin Wilson, a former English junior champion from Middlesbrough. No, trails, I'm sorry. Young Wilson is in front, 452 to 341. And very dramatically, the defending champion, Mike Russell, is in trouble. He trails another former world champion, Peter Gilchrist, 512 to 245. Meanwhile, on the resumption here, Hall has just shaved past that cannon.
Three. Six.
I think that Causier's 190 break just before the interval is going to have a big influence on this match. He resumes 300 in front.
Nine.
Cushion run through here, right hand side. Oh, I'm surprised he missed it. Shows how tight the pockets are. The easiest thing in the world for Hall to pot white. What does he do then? So Causier is angled on the white.
Foul. Two. Rob Hall.
Played a thin cannon off the back of the red, using, he hoped, either 2 or 3 cushions, but didn't make any contact whatsoever.
Two. Four.
Now Hall can't leave it too long before he makes inroads on his considerable deficit.
Six.
I just had a quick word with him during the interval. He was very disappointed with the way he was playing. Inability to stay in good position
8.
has been his chief bugbear.
Ten. Twelve.
Now, how awkward is his queuing here? very awkward by the look of it. Not surprised he
Rob
missed
Hall,
that.
12.
And neither C.
Two. You have Causier, 2.
Some followers of the game might wonder why Mike Russell, 12 times champion, and Peter Gilchrist, 3 times champion,
2.
have ended up playing in a quarter-final. That's because in one of his group matches, Russell was beaten by Rupesh Shah and therefore finished only second in his group. So that affected the seedings for the knockout phase.
5. Seven. Nine.
Well, that's what can happen if you get on the wrong side of the second object ball when you're playing a drop cannon. Almost rescued the situation.
Rob Hall, 9.
So, Hall back at the table.
2.
Billiards is, of course, very much a junior partner for snooker these days. That's been the case since the war.
8.
But
10.
having said that, it's in the best state that it's been for quite some considerable time. These players have
30.
played in tournaments in Canada, New Zealand, and quite a thriving British circuit.
16.
More tournaments about now than there were
18.
even 20 years ago.
21.
And a lot of good work being done by Martin Goodwill, the WPBSA's Director of Billiards Coaching. There are 32 accredited coaches now,
24.
and I'm sure we'll
26.
see some long-term effects from that. The only trouble is, all this should have happened years ago.
29. 32. 34. 37. 37.
Well, turned out that that attempted cannon was too narrow. Once or twice he's turned down the long enough when it was an acceptable alternative at least. Needed to get that red past the middle pocket. No easy shot here. Good pot. And had the additional
6.
benefit of finishing automatically on the half ball angle.
9. 12.
'All just planning where he might leave the cue ball for the in-off yellow, having kept the break going with that excellent long straight pot.
Fifteen. Rob Hall, 15.
Needed to bounce the cue ball a little bit more off the yellow.
2. 5. 8, yes.
Yes, that's 2 off the spot. In off to leave the red in baulk.
11.
And now the miss in baulk.
Dave Causier, 11. Miss 2, Rob Hall. Miss 2, Dave Causier.
No attempt to disturb the balls because that might leave Causier in an even better position.
Three.
Causier has only managed to leave this in off very wide. So with the extra pace,
6.
he's managed to make it. The so-called swinging off.
Dave Causier, 6.
No significant score though.
Two.
bit heavy-handed as regards red ball position.
Rob Hall, 2.
Overdid the attempted screwing off.
Two. Five. Eight.
Played the red in and out of ball, which it would have been but for catching the middle pocket jaw.
10. Twelve. Fourteen. Seventeen. Nineteen.
Causier now within 300 of the winning post.
22. 24. 26. 29.
'Didn't hit that quite hard enough.
31.
So I had to play the run through, and ideal position is lost.
33.
Still, Causier is very, very good in recovery positions. Nobody better, I would say,
36.
in the modern game.
$39. 42. 44. 46. 49. 52.
'I think the in off white is too narrow.
$55.
So Causier brings the red round to the vicinity of the pink spot. Didn't think he'd miss that.
Dave Causier, 55.
Causier again, 300 in front.
2. 5.
Played the 5 shot.
Seven.
Badly needs a substantial contribution here to get back into contention.
Rob Hall, 7.
Well, that's the sort of pot you don't see a quality snooker player miss. The top billiards player shouldn't miss it either. Back in the day when players used to play both billiards and snooker, the received wisdom was that you could play a lot of snooker and a bit of billiards and your potting didn't suffer, but if you played a lot of billiards and a bit of snooker, your potting did suffer. Joe Davis and his younger brother Fred are the only 2 players to have won the World Championship at both games. And I doubt that we'll ever see anybody win both championships again. Rather a scrappy period of play. Poor leaves for both players. That's what can happen if forcing shots are played. Impossible to predict where everything's going to finish up. And that hasn't come out terribly well either, even though Hall did score.
4.
Pot white double baulk was the only realistic option there.
Rob Hall, 4.
Causier thought there was a good chance that if he moved the balls, Hall wouldn't have an easier chance than if he'd just played the miss under the side cushion.
2.
Poor shot, not only to leave the object yellow short, but wide of the top pocket in off. As long as you keep it somewhere down the middle of the table, you've got some sort of shot on.
Rob Hall, 2.
Just a safety. But it turned out it wasn't safe. With that sort of shot, a good run of the ball is so important. And Causier had one.
5.
He was left to just a simple half ball in off. So he's in again.
7. 9. $11.
Just a brief financial note. The quarter-finalists receive £400, semi-finalists
14.
800, the runner-up 1600, and the champion 3,200. Petty cash compared with what the snooker players get,
16.
but it's all a question of television rights, sponsorship, public interest, and factors like that.
20. $23. 25. 28.
Took a chance with his position there, playing the 5 shot. Made sure he got the cannon if he didn't pot the
31.
red. It came out very well for him.
33. 36. 37.
A miscount corrected.
40. 43.
Not really far enough back off the second cushion, which left only the tricky screw in off the middle.
43.
We've not really seen any top quality billiards since Causier reached the interval with a break of 190. A lot of rather scrappy exchanges. And of course, for Hall in particular, when you're struggling, those sort of shots, the cushion cannons, they tend to go just round the second ball rather than hit it. Should make this cannon bed slightly away from the cushion. In effect, it's a bigger ball.
6. 8.
'Not often you see that.
Dave Causier, 8.
The top player missing a middle pocketing off.
2.
Quite a tricky shot that. 3/4 ball run through. But there again, that was poor.
2. 5.
Causier's one of those players who makes sure he scores usually, even if it means loss of position. He's very adept at sort of pulling something out of the bag.
$11.
And that wasn't the worst run of the ball he could have had.
$13.
The red spot is covered with the object
16.
white, so it goes on the pyramid spot. Which in these modern days is the pink spot.
19. Thank you. You have Causier 19.
Well, ball to ball cannon. Shouldn't have missed it. Causier seems to be having some lapses of concentration. Perhaps because Hall's not putting him
3.
under any great pressure. Perhaps he will with a substantial break here.
$6. $9.
Again misses his intended position on the red on the middle spot.
$12.
Good pot to keep going, but tricky shot coming up. I don't think he can get the run through cannon because the red would clip the yellow. That's how it looks anyway on screen. Had to settle for safety.
Rob Hall 12.
Breaks of 12 won't get him very far in his current position. Reasonable chance of making this cannon. Oh, that was unlucky. Unlucky to go round it.
$2. $5. $8. 11. 14. 16.
'Is the red going to get out of baulk?
19.
Just.
22. 24. 26.
An unintentional four shot.
28. 'Causier, 28. 2.
So Hall makes a good cannon. Can he, in a shot or two, work the balls into a favourable position for a break? What does he do here, for instance? Did well, actually. Has managed to leave an angle for a yellow to red cannon.
Five. 7. 9. 12. 14.
'Oh dear.
17.
Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to line the two object balls up. Looking at the possibility of playing a cushion first cannon.
Rob Hall, 17.
Didn't manage to judge it. Even though
2.
the scoring is in relatively no numbers, Causier seems to be steadily increasing his lead.
Four.
Plenty of room around this red,
6.
but Causier hit it smack on.
You've Causier, 6.
His run through in off fails though.
Two.
Would like
Four.
to have put the yellow rather behind the red spot there, but needed the extra pace to make the shot to swing it into the pocket. Hasn't controlled it terribly well. Nice long Jenny though.
6. Eight. So 10. 12.
Good screw cannon. Unlucky to lose the yellow. An attempted double ball. And despite the red clipping the middle pocket jaw, the red just makes it into that forbidden area.
Miss. 2. Rob Hall.
No point in trying to disturb the balls. Causier didn't think that Hall could score from there.
Two.
Nicely judged cannon. Not the greatest run of the ball.
Rob Hall. 2. 2. 4. 6. 9. 11. 13.
Causier within 150 of game now. And a place in this evening's semi-finals.
16. 18. 5 Causier, 18.
Well, the trouble was the careless shot leaving the lineup.
Three. 6. 8.
So Hall has at least got halfway to his 1,000. The only trouble is, Causier is more than 350
11.
in front. And within one
13.
decent break of the winning post.
15. 17. 20.
But has left himself a lineup.
$22.
He scores, but he's lost position.
Rob Hall, 22.
And the stun cannon fails.
Two. 4.
Can play the screw cannon.
6. 9. 11. 13. 15.
Strong right-hand side, the secret of that shot, just to
17.
turn the cue ball into the pocket. Strong left-hand
20.
side there to narrow the angle.
22.
Plain ball shot, leaving top of the table position.
25. 28. 30. 33. 35. 37.
'Screw cannon.
39.
Red over left corner, I believe, was the idea, but I think he's got a cannon on anyway.
41. 'Causier 41.
Again, that was a pot which a main tour snooker player probably would have missed. I think that's one of the chief differences you see between the billiards and the snooker players. The billiards players don't pot half as well. Apart from anything else, I think Hall is pretty demoralised.
2.
Causier into his last 100 now that he needs to reach his 1,000 target. He's not been at his best, but then neither has Hall. And perhaps with a possible 2 matches to go, it's just as well that you don't produce your best if you
7.
don't have to.
Nine. 11. 14. 16.
'Top of the table position, so perhaps he can
19.
round off the match with his third century of the day.
22. 24. 27. 29. 32. 35. 37. 40. 43. 45. 47. 'Quiet, please. 50. 53.
Yes, coming round the white to
55.
leave the perfect angle for the cannon.
Longness. Thank you. 57. 60. 62. 65.
This is looking like the last visit of the match. A match in which
67.
Causier has led throughout. I wouldn't say that he's
70.
produced his A game, except in flashes. But his B game has been plenty good enough for Rob Hall today,
73.
who will be very disappointed with his performance.
75.
He's a much better player than he's shown us in this match.
78. 81. Ballplaying Morning Haditi. 83.
Well, a bit careless with the crossing the baulk line shot.
Dave Causier, 83.
So it's not the last visit of the match.
Two. Dave Causier, 2.
Well, all you've can do in a situation like this is fight it out to the last.
Five. Seven.
Oh
Rob
dear.
Hall. Seven.
I think that shows just how demoralised Hall is.
Two. Four. Seven. Nine. 11.
So we can reasonably describe these few shots as the dying moments of this quarter-final.
13.
One last problem to solve.
Dave Causier, 13.
So Causier is still 3 points short of game.
Three.
No, he's gone completely. He hasn't got an ounce of confidence left.
Rob Hall, 3. Three in game.
And that is game shot. David Causier beats Rob
Nice
Hall
Nice,
by
Dave.
1,000 to 524. And he goes through to the semi-finals this evening. We'll be back with one of those at 5 o'clock. But until then, from me, Clive Everton, it's goodbye for now.